just touched on a couple things earlier in the show. Roy, you mentioned that no teams took the opportunity to congratulate the Florida Panthers on winning the Stanley Cup. It's the first time in recent memory that we've gone an NHL draft without congratulating the Cup champion, but there are reasons for that. And yes, I am one of the 6 Florida Panther fans, and I'm always looking for the disrespect out there. But this was at the Sphere, and there was a lot of production that went along with these picks, and apparently there was an edict from up top that said no personal messages delivered at the microphone, just official business here. Now,
oh, that's ridiculous.
I got a quick question, Mike. So I know, but I mean, I don't think Amin knows. I don't think Juju knows. Like at the NHL draft, every team has to go up and congratulate the team that won the cup?
No, it's just a classy thing that you often see. Congratulations to our Cup champion that just won the Cup a couple days ago.
But 0 teams did it.
0 teams did it this year. It was odd, but apparently there were reasons for that. And one of the reasons,
like when you're not supposed to dunk at the end of the game, even though you're up 20, like an unwritten rule.
Kind of like that.
Okay.
Kind of like that. Now teams have on their social channels congratulated the Florida Panthers. We saw Tampa Bay did that, which I don't like that. Delete that. Take it back. I don't want it. But there was a really cool moment at the draft. I saw Dana White. He was asked about the NHL draft. Said, "Oh my gosh, that was like little kid stuff. What we got planned is going to blow them away."
Noche UFC is going to be huge.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. But one of the cool moments from the NHL draft that did happen at the Sphere was they were able to keep this a secret. Celine Dion came out and announced the Montreal Canadiens' first-round pick, and that was an immense pop over there. Could have been done anywhere outside of the Sphere, but given her ties to Las Vegas and Montreal, it was a really cool pop, and it was a really cool moment. It was one of the best things that I've seen considering the battles that she has right now with health. But you mentioned that. The best thing that I saw from the weekend happened at Glastonbury with Michael J. Fox. Now, Amin, I know you're a Michael J. Fox fan.
Love him.
You must have seen this video already on social media from Glastonbury. Coldplay playing a headlining set at Glastonbury. Coldplay, huge, massive band, great seminal moment to headline Glastonbury. They did something totally unexpected, and they brought out Michael J. Fox to play with them during Fix You, which is pretty iconic. I don't know if you've seen the video mashup of someone taking the college football trailer and applying Coldplay's Fix You to it. It builds to a crescendo, and it does give you goosebumps. So this moment in particular, with Michael J. Fox kicking his leg as that song builds to crescendo, was really just an epic moment. I want to show it to the audience real quick. I have goosebumps watching that back.
No, they cut the video off, but at the end of it, they have a photograph of Marty with his 2 siblings, and they're all back together.
Did Back to the Future. It was the Go Johnny Go 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 wasn't enough of a callback for you.
I need the little photo in
but
there.
But the way that he times out the leg kick with the pyro and the instrumentation kicking in right then and there.
And then Lorraine and George kissed.
Oh, man. You didn't get goosebumps doing that? I felt like a big
Too
softie.
much.
I don't know.
I
I gotta
just
go there
cried.
someday.
I just almost cried watching that. Like, that was amazing.
Do it one
Like,
more time. I'm just like, give yourself over to this moment.
It
because
was like such a great festival too.
yeah,
Amazing.
this was unreal. Let's do it one more time. Maybe you'll find a place in your cold, dark heart to actually feel something here. I mean,
Biff Tannen got knocked out. It was crazy.
guys, let Chris Martin handle the Back to the Future canon.
Wait for it.
That's how you direct a
That's
festival.
the coolest
right
thing
there.
ever.
It's a great shot.
Oh, it cuts off right before he says, you guys probably aren't ready for it, but your kids are going to love it.
You're really like feel the goosebumps on my arm
There's no
literally
part
go
of you that
down
can
every
feel
time you start
emotions.
talking.
You mean to tell me
You don't feel anything there? I felt something there.
you made a time machine out of a DeLorean?
Salute the Coldplay, bro. That was beautiful. That was amazing because they can use their platform to do anything they want to.
Yeah.
And for them to choose to do that, bro, that shows a great example of what we need more in the world, bro.
That was a great positive moment. I'm glad you highlighted that.
Great example, great positive moment. Great Scott!
You cracked me there. War of attrition,
All right,
but I think you
good.
got
Yeah,
it.
that was good. All right, you got it.
Nobody
wanna-
has a deeper bag. Than
I want to
Amin.
make references so bad, but I don't know any.
Oh no!
Because,
Back to the Future?
because of the youngness.
I've never seen it.
You've never
I've
seen Back to the
seen it.
Future?
I know. I need to watch. I've been on the ride at Universal.
R.I.P.
Back to the Future is
The
one
Supreme
of,
Court just put us in Back to the Future, too.
shout out to D.L. Hughley and Roy for
We
introducing me to
should
that.
watch Back
Yes,
to the
thank
Future with my sister and do an impromptu episode of Cinephile special
There's
edition.
no way that
Cinephile.
There's no way.
Cinephile.
that-
Cinephile.
My bad, my
There's
bad.
no way it qualifies for
Blasphemy.
phobe.
Blasphemy.
Yeah, it is among the highest rated on Rotten Tomatoes movies of all time.
Wow.
All three of those movies. Because it's like it's the perfect story. It's the perfect story. It's funny. It's exciting. It's adventure.
Perfect
Doesn't
casting.
it take place in the future
One-
that is now?
Back to the Future 2 does.
Okay.
Back to the Future 1, he goes back to 1955 accidentally, and he sees his parents.
Spoiler alert.
He sees his parents as high school teenagers.
Kissing.
Well,
He almost gets
Don't
Oh,
tell her.
yeah.
It's
Mom,
complicated.
mom
It's
starts falling in
complicated.
love with the wrong guy. It's a little,
Yeah, spoiler alert.
little incestuous. And also, they filmed parts of the movie with Eric Stoltz instead of Michael J. Fox as Marty.
and then they had to stop and recast it because it was just like, this ain't working.
ain't it.
This
No.
ain't it, they said.
This ain't it. Can you
Yeah.
imagine Coldplay bringing out Eric Stoltz? I can't.
Oh, my
Well,
God.
first of all, he'd be a jerk. He'd be like, "Can you turn that out?" Like he'd be given direction as opposed to just being happy for the moment. Eric Stoltz, a little bit of a jerk.
Turn on my monitor.
I did not know this about Eric Stoltz.
He would have missed time to kick for sure.
Now
Yeah.
there was a big motorsports weekend. NASCAR was in Nashville. Granted, I'm back into NASCAR now. I've never seen a finish like that. There were 300 laps in this thing, but I saw 350 because they kept crashing on the overtime restarts. And it was a war of attrition. Basically, if you pitted at the beginning of overtime, you ended up being in the conversation for the end because the race kept getting pushed back. I'm going to Chicago this weekend for the NASCAR race. I'm super excited about that. But in the eyes of the world, there really truly only is one motorsport, and that is Formula One, Jess.
I have a F1 minute here, and I don't feel confident in because I tried to give it a theme, and then I petered out. So we're gonna see if
It was in
anyone
Austria,
catches
right?
on. That's not what the theme is, though.
What could be the theme?
Well, maybe you'll find out, or maybe you won't, because I did a bad job. From the town of Spielberg, it's lights out and away we go for the Austrian Grand Prix. Max hasn't lost a driver's championship since the Stone Age, and it's sitting on pole with the sprint wind in hand on Sunday. The Red Bull takes a commanding lead on lap 1 and avoids the pebbles, but Charles Leclerc has damage and comes back to the pit lane with a busted wing. Russell, Hamilton, Sainz, and Piastri are battling for the last spot on the podium. Verstappen seems to have the edge, but he loses time on a pit stop, and Norris is gaining on him. Verstappen and Norris are wheel to wheel, and it's bam bam into the corner. Norris and Verstappen make contact. Norris has to retire his car, and Verstappen has damage. George Russell takes the lead with mere laps to go. George Russell has to drive perfectly, and he does. Yabba dabba doo! In a shock to the world, George Russell wins the Austrian Grand Prix. Piastri and Sainz are on the podium. Max Verstappen receives a 10-second penalty but keeps 5th place. Will his friendship with Lando continue? Will F1 ever penalize his driving style? We'll find out next week in Silverstone.
Whoa, time to spare.
Jetsons.
Flintstones.
Oh.
Wow! You got those confused. Wow.
Team Edward.
Team Jacob.
Twilight?
But not really.
Thought we were doing a thing.
No, I didn't get them confused.
Okay, don't
It was a
check
good
it
joke.
out.
It's making a joke. Either way, it's
So
a dated
George
reference.
Russell won, and he said yabba dabba doo. No one knows why. Inexplicably
Okay.
over the radio.
It's the cocaine.
What?
What?
You've been a little off this segment. I can't lie.
Have I
Like,
been
we're
off?
all like,
I've been on.
He's been very on.
On.
one thing that hasn't been on, a lot like the Brazilian national team, has been the U.S. men's national
Stop
team.
it. Incomparable.
Why? They drew, actually, 2 weeks ago. Based off of
Old
that
news.
alone, the right
Old
in
news.
recent form is pretty similar.
Look, one team has to play one of the best teams in the world in order to keep its life alive.
And the other one's Brazil.
The other one's Brazil. Exactly. Pretty much.
But so the U.S. play in Copa America today.
Mm-hmm.
They need a result. They need to have, more specifically, a better result than Panama has in their match. However, a couple breaks for the U.S. men's national team, especially if you're someone like me that says worst case scenario is maybe we add to a resume that's not worth bringing back in Greg Berhalter. Disastrous result for the U.S. men's national team against Panama in their match earlier. Greg Berhalter, you know where I stand on the guy. Terrible mistake bringing him back. And we're seeing all those things play out. And I think if you listen to people that have been covering the U.S. men's national team, they're really around this camp and they're saying, wow, vibes are so good. Everyone is so loose. You don't want that. It's bad. I'll tell you who's allowed to have a loose camp.
Brazil.
No, stop with the Brazil.
Brazil's allowed to have a loose camp. That's how we do it.
And we already know that they're not going to have a loose camp because Paul Maurice has said so. You win a championship like the Florida Panthers, you're allowed a loose camp. You're the U.S. men's national team. You're as talented as you've ever been, and you just drop a result against Panama. Tim Weah punches a dude. Tim Weah gets a red card. And while you don't want to blame that specifically on Greg Berhalter, do not deny me the ability to say it is a byproduct of the culture that he has created over there.
Loose camp, huh?
They wanted him brought back. The players universally wanted Greg Berhalter back. Why? Because they could walk all over the guy.
Let him do whatever.
Because they could have their loose camps. Because they could take their I'm going to make this about TikTok. They could take their TikToks and their selfie camera videos and all that stuff, and they could lose to the likes of Panama. U.S. men's national team is not good enough to be bossing around and getting behind a manager. In fact, you go the other way on these brats. You bring in a tough manager.
Someone they hate.
To hold them accountable. You want them to hate Cam.
Oh, I hate coach.
You want them to hate it. But what are they going to do right now? They're going to luck into a Uruguay team that's already set in the knockout stages. Bielsa would have absolutely reveled in the ability to be the one that takes out Greg Berhalter, but he's suspended for this match. So now you don't have that tactical matchup, and you don't have the best players for Uruguay out there against the U.S. men's national team. And I will say, even though Ronaldo has already came out and said, and you always have to take him with a grain of salt, that Greg Berhalter's job is safe no matter the result tonight. If the U.S. fails to reach the knockout stages, coming on the heels of that loss to Panama, you must sack this dude. He must not be brought back, because this is the tournament where you realize this is a competition that we're going to be up against in 2026. We're out here losing to Panama. We brought Greg Berhalter in to boss the likes of Panama because of the talent. You're losing straight up. It is bad tactics. It is a bad culture. It is a bad fit, and we all could have told you that several months ago.
Is it the same Eric Ronaldo with the whole John Harkes thing?
Yeah.
Have you guys talked about that?
No.
Next.
Also, Greg has 2 G's.
Let's close that bow, that thread, the John Harkes Ronaldo thing.
Yes, please.
There's a great podcast series done on that whole 98 World Cup that Roger Bennett was behind. It was a disaster. Yeah, Ronaldo, I remember watching Fox Soccer Channel when he revealed this stuff very casually.
I saw him reveal it. It was with Kate Abdo.
Yeah.
It was like
Did he? I don't recall the Ronaldo thing, but this thing has been out there.
Has it? Because
Yeah.
I was like, he's telling the story, and I'm like, where's this going? And then it's like, oh my God! And then he's like, but I didn't want him off the team. I'm like, what?
Yeah, Harkes and Ronaldo were 2 first-teamers, and they were embroiled in a scandal off the pitch.
One banged the other one's wife.
Ah, classic.
He said, I got hurt and I was so into my rehab. The families knew each other. The couples would go out on dates together, whatever. And when they're on the road.
This is all according to Eric Ronaldo.
Yeah,
Too.
and this is the story he told. They're on the road or they're out, whatever. And I guess he got hurt. And while he was rehabbing, he kind of got really into, as athletes do sometimes, they become very insular or whatever. And so the other one was like, hey, what's going on? Bangs his wife. And then, it comes out, they find out
That
it's
is a scientific term for it.
Like bangs.
Gave her the hog.
Adultery?
All right,
Gave her
Mike
the
Breen.
So, bang! So then, it comes out, and he's like, I don't want my teammate kicked off the team. Because he's like, I thought that would give us the best chance to win. I'm like, win what? Are you talking about the World Cup? Are you serious? I'm sorry, this is the part where sobriety has to come in. Is like, my dignity and the dignity of my marriage versus us placing 700th out of 699 teams.
For the younger members of our audience, so there was a fair amount of hype entering the 1998 World Cup for the U.S. They had a lot of great results against Argentina. They were playing Brazil pretty well, and they went into that World Cup, and I think they lost to Iran in the 98 World Cup.
They sure did.
It was just all these toxic vibes. Like if the World Cup happened in '96, leading up to where they were in form, this was a team that was likely headed to the knockout stages, and then they just fell on their face. And then you start dissecting what happened there, and this was one of those ugly things that was happening behind the scenes.
Yes, it was ugly happening behind the scenes. I feel bad for all parties involved. Also, they could have been all blissfully in love and married and faithful, and the same went down. That team was not going to be doing and making any sorts of noise.
The results beg to differ leading up. But
we're not talking about leading up.
How are you approaching this as like a cocky Brazil guy? Your team is in like total disarray.
Can you imagine if Brazil win? Like he be getting on to us for when our teams win. Can you imagine Amin if Brazil win? He's gonna be butting
Brazil all of a sudden puts its foot down on pink hair. Like that's the line. Brazil won't cross. Pink hair, that's it.
Exactly. The Yankees all of a sudden.
Yeah, Ronaldinho's given up on them because they drew against the U.S. That's how bad the U.S. is. Ronaldinho saw them draw the U.S. He's like, I can't watch these guys. I will not be watching these guys. He's absolutely watching
Where
these
is
guys.
Jimmy Butler? Why isn't he at any of these games? I'm really upset.
He was at the X Games.
No, who gives a shit about? They do the X Games every year, don't they?
I don't know what to tell you.
Jeremy, did you see that clip of Jimmy Butler telling Camila Cabello that he wanted like the fans to show up early?
Yeah, that was pretty funny because, look, for him to play into all of the things that everyone else nationally thinks about Heat fans is funny objectively, especially because every Heat fan's reaction was just like, well, we can't. Nothing we could do, Jimmy.
Yeah,
sorry.
Here's a
get to
clip.
the arena.
Here's a clip, and Jimmy, I guess, is reveling between that and that number looks good in purple and gold type of line that he threw out there. He has taken some public digs at the Miami Heat and their fans, and this is the clip.
What is the best and worst thing about Miami?
And then the worst part, to me, our fans never show up one time. They never show up one time.
You know why, though? Because that's Latin people.
I'm just like, damn. I want it to be rocking from, like, the jump ball.
Except
Fans,
that
come
they're
on,
late.
we need y'all. Go in.
What was the best thing?
You know what, Jimmy? Just understand, bro. We get out of work at what time? About 6, 5 o'clock. We got to go home, take a shower, then beat this.
Traffic.
You seen this traffic around here? It's like one way in, one way out.
Construction.
2 bridges only. And them mother truckers are always just backed up. Big bro, show some grace to your fans. We support you. We buying your jerseys. Lay off of us. You just set us back, 10 years if you're a Miami Heat fan.
Yeah.
Also, the best thing he said in that clip that was cut out was the fans.
Yeah, you know what? You guys are doing something here. I see that video team. A very
Manipulation.
convenient editing out of like, oh, let me leave the best part out and just focus on the worst part. Why were we trying to start here, man? What's that?
Here's what I'll say about Jimmy. He ain't slick.
Right.
You're not slick with any of it. With Camilla,
We know what you're
with
doing.
Shakira, with Cameron Brink, you're not slick. And now you did the Taylor Rooks thing where you just said stuff into a microphone because you're courting. I'm just saying, you're not slick.
How dare you?
You know that's what's going
We're
on.
watching
Dare
you.
You know, just
watching
keep,
you watching her. We
Keep your
watch.
eyes. There's a pattern. There's absolutely a pattern.
Why can't he just be a fan of all of these people?
Did you watch the Euros yesterday?
I did. I watched Spain and
Georgia.
Georgia. Yes,
Yeah.
Georgia went up 1-0, and then,
I mean,
and then my dad. As soon as
tough.
as soon as the equalizer came in, my dad said it's going to be
Go
5-1.
Dogs.
Yeah. I mean, I took Georgia +2 because any SEC team, you got to take them at +2.
Yeah.
But they lose 4-1 to Spain. Spain's got a 16-year-old
Yeah,
first
Look,
teamer
that's the
out there
new,
dropping dimes.
That's the new status symbol. I've realized watching both Euro and Copa. Like, if you want to really, how good are you guys? Man, we got a kid who can't even buy cigarettes. Is playing well.
We got a kid that, because of workers' laws, can't actually play this game. That's how young we are.
And you know how we know he's young? Because he's got the broccoli hair, and he's like
They all have that haircut.
110 pounds.
Yeah, all the young players have that haircut. But in the England-Slovakia game, Gareth Southgate came back from the dead. Everybody was pouring dirt on his grave. England have this immensely talented team, a team that should have every right to be playing in the final. They almost get knocked out by Slovakia. They concede early because you fall asleep during a pass that goes directly through your back line. And Slovakia looked good on the day. And right at the death, who else? Jude Bellingham.
That stupid ass haircut, man. I'm gonna tell you right now.
Jude doesn't have a stupid haircut.
I don't.
Jude
like it.
Jude doesn't have a stupid haircut. What he does have is a flair for the dramatic.
I'm gonna say this, man.
Elitism.
Someone asked me a question like, "What happens if Argentina plays the USA?" like, where do you? I said I want it to be like a negative draw if possible, but like very close to my hatred for Argentina. U.S.
You only got the draw when Brazil played the U.S.
We're talking about
a couple of weeks ago.
We're talking about intern. We're not talking about friendlies and little bullshit.
But usually Brazil can speak from the catbird spot. Not right now.
Look,
we're
man,
both kind of going through it.
Catbird my ass. How about that?
Hey, yo.
But for England, man, England's very close in that ranking of teams I hate. And so Slovakia being up 1-0, I was like, okay, here we go, man. Please.
Did you see the video of like fans leaving the stadium?
Dog, did I see the video?
They were complaining. They're like, Southgate's got nothing. But Jude Bellingham is a special player, and he plays for Real Madrid. He's an Englishman that plays for Real Madrid. And seemingly, England has taken on Real Madrid's identity in that this team in white will look listless for 90 minutes, but at the death, they'll find a way to make it happen. And usually the tie that binds is Jude Bellingham, who's probably going to win Ballon d'Or. Like, he is an absolute superstar, and he has these moments under his belt. And the moment where he turns to the camera and says, "Who else?" as if who else could have possibly done this
so much.
But dude, you gotta like Jude.
I hate them.
You
so
gotta
much.
like Jude.
Everyone, get out. All of you.
No.
All of you, get out.
No, I love Jude Bellingham, and I'm so happy that he had that moment.
England, by the way, for those that don't know, not you. Are you English? Maybe.
I'm English.
Look, for those that don't know, England is the New York Knicks of world football, right? Like, they had a championship a long goddamn time ago, and they think this is their year every goddamn year, every tournament.
Only they got to the final 3 years ago.
Congratulations.
3 years ago because it was impacted by COVID.
Exactly.
And they lost to Italy, which has had truly a bizarre 6 years.
Italy is the Miami Heat. Where it's like they play ugly, and somehow at the end they pull it out. Like, how did they do this
I
again?
think Italy found a way to have the longest win streak in the history of international football and still miss the World Cup.
Yeah.
And then they won the Euro 2 years later,
Yep.
or again because of COVID, maybe a year later. And now they're knocked out of the Euro 3 years later by Swiss.
The Miami Heat.
Yeah,
Right? Like, basically.
very, very bizarre.
Well, you guys are watching this men's national team game tonight. I will be watching the season finale of Clips.
Oh, is that
because
tonight or tomorrow?
I think it's tonight.
Tuesday. Doesn't it come out on Tuesdays?
What day is it today?
Today's Monday.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh.
But we can still talk. We can still talk about Clip. We can still talk about Clip.
You had your
I
tongue
was
all
so
ready
excited to see the finale.
What's gonna happen? You think they're gonna sell the team?
I think they're gonna have to sell the team.
No.
Oh, no.
He said for life.
Well, Shelly wants to own the team. Shelly said, I want to keep. And her stupid ass lawyer, all of a sudden, he says, oh, I've got an idea here. Like, what kind of idea is this? You want to talk to me about it before you say that to the commissioner?
Man, she's a mess. They're a messy, messy couple.
How is the V. Stiviano storyline in Clipped?
Oh, no, she's
Ass off or ass
Episode
on?
five.
ass way off. Oh, my God.
Episode
This woman's
5
incredible.
was the
Barbara
Barbara Walters
right
interview.
hand arm man?
Yes.
Shout out to the woman they got to play Barbara Walters, who also did a good job. It's funny. Some people are doing incredible jobs. Al Bundy, incredible job. The woman who's playing Shelley Sterling, incredible job. V. Stiviano, incredible job.
Ed O'Neill, I think, is doing a great job.
He's like, I'm not being funny here. He might be Emmy nominated for this.
Really?
Because he's knocking out. Because this is the thing.
Has he ever won?
For Modern Family, he had
I'm
to,
sure
right?
like Modern Family
I'll look it
like
up.
collected so much hardware
And he never won.
that he might have gotten like
I
a
have no
career
idea.
thing.
Well,
My favorite detail in the show is Ed O'Neill's hair is dyed brown, but you can see his gray roots.
but that's Donald
so
Sterling. It's so like the crazy thing is watching him, and I'm like, guys, you don't understand. That's how Donald Sterling talked. He always spoke like this. I like it.
He would
I
grab
thank
people
them.
by the hand.
Yeah, that
Always unsettling.
eating people's food. Like, this is all real.
Alpha move.
That's real
He's
shit.
doing that on purpose.
That's like standing.
Ed O'Neill is 3 times nominated. He has not won yet.
he's never won.
Wow. He's got to win for this.
This
I'm
one's-
with you. I think that when the show came out, a lot of people made fun of the casting of the players, which is understandable because if they're players that you know very well and you see who this cast, you're like, that guy doesn't look like Blake Griffin or whatever. But the casting for the rest of the people in the show is so good. And that's kind of more so what the show is about.
Sure.
Like, I think Doc Rivers is kind of like the main character, like hero in the show.
Yeah, no
And
consulting producer,
Yeah.
Glenn Rivers. Oh, okay. Oh, that makes sense.
and then like the Sterlings
know
and
Doc
V.
really well.
Stiviano are kind of driving the plot more
Yep.
so than the team itself.
Ed O'Neill lost to his own castmates 2 out of those 3 years. Ty Burrell in 2011, Eric Stone Street 2012, Tony Hale 2013 for Veep.
He deserved that. I'm not gonna lie. The bag
Poor Ed
man.
O'Neill.
Let's get Stone Street on the line.
I want to shout out NBC because I haven't been able to follow Olympic storylines this well headed into an Olympics. I think they're telling really good stories headed into these things. And one of the things that have never really been as readily available to me as it has been this year is the trials for the Olympic team being on network television, getting a fair amount of marketing and publicity around it, is really allowing you to establish connections to these athletes well in advance. And that's not usually how I've watched the Olympics.
Don't they? Haven't they always done that? They've always had the Olympic trials.
They've always had Olympic trials, but they've never been to this scale. They have Lucas Oil Stadium being sold out for swimming. They're really trying hard to make these people stars before the Olympics. Usually it goes the other way, where people become stars because of the Olympics, and you find out more about them. And if they play in the next Olympics, then you know. But they're really trying to develop superstars here in the trial phase, which is interesting.
I like when places like Home Depot have ads letting us know that 700 Olympians have worked for the Home Depot. And
And I like pointing out that the U.S. actually doesn't fund its Olympic programs the way that most developed countries do.
Yeah, it's not like a huge war chest.
No, the U.S. is actually doing poorly here, and I imagine the collegiate athletes will end up paying for this. It might be your favorite Big Ten football program, Jess.
I didn't know that. I think the promotion has been really, really good this year because the last 2 nights especially were gymnastics and track and field, and they've done such a good job on the broadcast of like getting you really invested. Because I'm not someone who watches track and field like in non-Olympic years. I
Nobody
usually
does.
just watch. Some people do. Like it is there is a fairly big like running. Some of these Olympian track and field athletes have millions of followers on social media, and they're big celebrities in track and field.
But they're big celebrities in track and field because of their exploits internationally. Like so, when my parents used to live in France, so I go visit them. On a regular Tuesday, you turn on the TV like at night, and it's like today the what do you call it indoor thing from Berlin, and the place is sold out, and people really gave a shit. Addo Bolden, the sprinter was he from Trinidad or where was he from?
You got me here. I don't know who that is.
Addo Bolden, he was the biggest rival to like Michael Johnson back in the day, right? So
wasn't that the Canadian dude?
No. You think about way further back. You're thinking about Ben Johnson. That was 1988. That was Carl Lewis.
I was thinking about Michael Johnson was in 1996, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. Wasn't there a Canadian dude that was always his rival?
We're getting lost in the weeds
exactly.
here.
My point is
The guy who sang "When a Man Loves a Woman."
that's Michael Bolton. The guy who won 6 championships. That's Michael Jordan. No,
I think was it a Johnson and Johnson?
I think it was Ben Johnson, the Canadian.
Ben Johnson was 88, and he got with the doping.
Like Woody Johnson.
Yes.
Woody Johnson's the owner of the Jets.
I'm like a dog with a bone
Balco.
on this one.
Balco is the place that did the stuff, the drugs.
Like the dog Bolt.
Oh, Bolt.
Balto.
Balto.
The dog that cured all the kids in Alaska.
Donovan Bailey.
There it is.
Donovan Bailey was Michael Johnson's.
flooring guy in
Michael
North Miami?
Johnson's.
No, the Denver Bronco.
That is a Don Bailey.
Don Bailey.
That's done. Yeah.
defensive back.
Don, are you ready?
The comic strip about the guys in the army in Korea. That's Beetle Bailey.
Beetle Bailey, yes.
They got new
Beatles.
Beetlejuice coming out this next month.
Dude.
That's Michael Keaton.
Oh.
Oh, the guy, the silent movie star, right?
That's Buster Keaton.
Ah, damn.
7 for 50.
The
on
baseball
Montour.
expert.
I know, man.
That's Buster
Buster
Olney.
Olney.
Oh, you talking about the guy who beat Mike Tyson? Back
Buster
in the day.
Douglas.
Buster
Buster
Douglas.
Douglas.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean O.J. Simpson's lawyer?
No, that's Carl Douglas.
Oh, Carl Douglas.
bruh.
Oh.
What's he up to?
The guy who played Apollo Creed, rest in peace.
Oh, that's Carl Weathers, man.
Still raining, by the way.
That's bad weather.
Oh, man.
Did you know that Wyatt Earp and Betty White lived in Los Angeles at the same time?
Bull.
For 8 years. They were just both living in L.A.
Wait a second. You tell me the Golden Girls in Quick and the Dead?
Yeah. There was 8 years in Los Angeles where they were like, yeah, I'm going to go to Betty's place.
If I
I'll see
may.
you at Wyatt's.
Okay. The gymnastics. They announced the women's gymnastics team last night on NBC, and they put the trials on TV, and there were tons of people there. It was like sold out. Everyone was cheering. It was such a well done television show, and yes, I mean,
Who is America's sweetheart now?
Simone Biles is
Still?
she's
Still the sweetheart.
I think she's the oldest Olympian to ever.
And
compete for
Ledecky
the
is
United
also
States
still
now.
America's sweetheart. So a lot of the names
There's
are coming
a lot
back.
of sweethearts. Also, America's Sweethearts on Netflix also are America's Sweethearts. The DCC Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
Can I ask what's happening across this entire country, where for decades we had a cycle of this person is in, you're hot, you're out, and then the next person comes in. And whether you're talking about people running for president or people in the Olympics, these people just won't let go.
Modern medicine.
Simone Biles is so good.
I know.
She is. Did you see the
Sha'Carri,
video? Of her?
Sha'Carri wasn't the biggest star 4 years ago.
No, she didn't get to go.
Yeah, so like superstardom now.
Simone Biles last night, one of her passes in her floor routine, she was 12 feet in the air.
Jesus.
12 feet, and she is 4'8".
Dude, I went to a trampoline park the other day with my kids.
Dangerous game, buddy.
Terrifying.
Dangerous game.
Terrifying.
Also an Olympic event, the trampoline gymnast. That is crazy.
Dude, do you see how do you not think I'm going to shatter every single
That's
bone
an
in my
Achilles.
body?
I thought you were about to say I'm going to shat my pants because that's what I
the
think
best
is
thing
going
that can
on.
happen. It's the best thing that can happen if I show up on a trampoline. No, I don't know where that age was for me.
Best thing that can happen.
Yeah,
is
that's
you shitting
that.
your
Yeah,
pants.
it's the best possible thing. Like you got out of here with just dirty pants. Great, survived.
That is an ACL and Achilles graveyard.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I can just hear it like a chicken bone.
Well, I don't know if you ever see these videos that go viral of people doing like the foam pits at the trampoline parks and stuff. Like people get hurt in those all the time. They're super dangerous.
I called my kids.
Bruh, how in the hell, Pablo Torre, how is Joel Embiid allowed to
On the
play for the
American team.
USA team? The math ain't math.
Me and Juju were just looking at the roster. We were talking about USA hoops and kind of when they're starting. I think like later on in July. And I'm running through the roster. I'm like, okay, Bam, Devin Booker, Steph Curry, AD, KD, Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton. I'm like, okay, and then I'm like, Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
Wasn't Hakeem Olajuwon on the '96 team?
He was. So first I got to ask, are you guys asking how is he eligible or why was he picked?
Both.
Not why was he picked. I don't understand why he picked.
No,
But, like how is this able to happen? My boy from Cameroon.
Yeah, so-
you scrap up over there. Bro.
Well, here's the funny thing. He got his U.S. citizenship, but he got it after he got his French citizenship. The French fast-tracked his citizenship because he told Boris Diaw, the GM of Team France, I want to play for France. So they went to the president. The president had to, like the president of the country, not the president of the federation. They did all this paperwork, fast-tracked him, so he's French, and then his U.S. citizenship came in, and he was like, on second thought.
On second thought, he's playing both sides.
He's playing both sides indeed. And so he goes to Team USA. The French Federation goes nuts. They say he's a coward. They talk big shit about him.
Man, you must be doing something wrong if the French are calling you a coward.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. Now, the reason why
I saw Smetty like shrink away from the microphone. Like
we're not doing
World War WW2.
I was
They
about
still
to
owe
make
us.
the same joke, and then you did it, so I viscerally reacted to us having the exact same joke.
WW2 forever.
Visceral. That's the
Fact
dragon
check,
from
World
House of
Champs.
Dragons, right?
Yes, Dragon Ball Z.
Viserys. So Juju,
Nope, we're not
because
playing
he
the game
hasn't
anymore.
played
Big
for
Z.
a national team anywhere, and he's technically a U.S. citizen, he is eligible to go.
Shitterson.
Yes. And the same way that
Shitterson.
Hakeem
Shitterson.
Olajuwon got his naturalization and then was eligible because he had never played for Nigeria. He was eligible to play for Team USA. This, by the way, Juju, you'll be very interested in this. This is part of the complication that's stopping the Ogumike sisters from playing for Team Nigeria in the Olympics because, truth be told, Team Nigeria should be one of the best women's basketball teams in all the world with a chance to medal, perhaps even gold. But the problem is so many of their players, because they're growing up in America, have played for Team USA on a youth level or some other level. And because of that, they're deemed ineligible to represent Nigeria, which I think is kind of horrible.
And the pendulum finally swings. The WNBA, speaking of those lovely sisters.
Yes, sir.
Yesterday, Diana Taurasi versus Caitlin Clark, the biggest game in the world. Caitlin got her yesterday, and she was one rebound away from a triple-double. The first rookie to ever do that in the history of the world, Craig. Not just now, the whole world. Speaking of history, bit Angel Reese yesterday, the first WNBA player ever to have 10 consecutive double-doubles in a single season. Salute to the rookies in the WNBA right now. If both of those sisters, salute.
Salute. Let me ask a question to you, Juju, and you, Jessica, because you are our WNBA lead analyst here. Is this like? Do you guys get the same vibe I do that Caitlin Clark at every opportunity throws gas on the fire every time she's asked a question? So the other day she was asked, like, "Oh, what kind of advice have vets given you on the course?" Like, I don't get any advice from anybody. I'm like, oh. Like, there's a million ways to answer that where you don't add to this fire of everybody hates me. Why? And she never ever takes the opportunity to diffuse.
Right. And she just keep it real. Like, that sis just keep it real. She ain't trained in bull. Like, she actually telling the truth. Like, well, shoot, they ain't giving me no advice. But she could learn to just bull right there where, well, I'm getting some great advice from all over the place. Sis ain't bull. So she gonna keep it straight.
She ain't gotta lie. She could just say, you know what, man, I'm just focused on getting better every day.
But sometimes the truth right there in your eyes. If I don't like my damn teammates, I don't like my damn teammates. If this is the case, or if my coach ain't telling me nothing, guess what? She ain't taught me a damn thing. I'm gonna look into the camera and say it because I'm her. So if you ask me a question, I'm keep it real. We gotta let that sister keep it real. That's her honest answer.
I think a lot of people probably would agree with you, Amin, but I think the counterpoint to that is people think that Caitlin is just kind of, like you said, like she just tries to keep it real or stick to basketball, and that is her giving her like stick to basketball answer. It's just like, oh no one's giving me advice, I wish. But I think you could read both things into it, and so people are very split on where to fall on that.
In the way that she answers questions, it reminds me of Stormfront from The Boys. Like, everything's like, well, da-da-da, and it's like, on the surface level, you can be like, yo, like, it was just a straightforward answer.
But she's also a young lady. Like, she is young as hell. She ain't got the same maturity and know how to do all these media training. Like, she got all these cameras in her face at such a young age. It's surprising she don't mess up more, man. Like, salute to her just keeping it real, and she ain't throw nobody under the bus necessarily. It's if you choose to look at it that way. But this sister is not. Remember, Ant-Man came in the league and was telling her, I can beat you in baseball, I can beat you in basketball. She ain't doing none of that. She just keeping it real at these press conferences.
Ant-Man's still saying those things, by the way. He never stopped.
You feel me? But also, everybody around the league, the whole league, salute to the. I might have to do a WNBA minute tomorrow. If y'all can have me.
Yes.
There's so much going on in the WNBA right now, and it's so important, dog. Finally, all the eyes are right where they need to be, directly on these ladies. And
it would be great if I had 2 sets of eyes, because yesterday the Sky and the Lynx played at the same time as the Fever and the Mercury, and I could only watch one at a time.
Which one did you watch?
I watched the Fever because it was on ESPN.
Doc?
Anthony Stolaars is going to Toronto.
I
3
knew
years.
I
2.5.
knew it, son of a bitch.
What the hell is an unofficial act when you're president?
I think it's what Clinton did with Lewinsky.
Oh yeah,
That's unofficial.
I mean, it happened in the workplace. That's
that's
HR
an
issue.
HR
It was
hours,
under the
though.
desk.
It was off hours, though.
Wait,
it was in the Oval Office.
You're the president. There's
there
no
are no
off
hours. Yeah.
It was getting off hours.
Hey.
But like, this is
Okay.
a.
Jeez.
I mean, did you not see what happened with Hawk Tuah Girl? Like,
She's having a moment.
yeah, she was at the Zach Bryan concert.
Yeah, he brought her out, and she came out on the stage, and she said, "Hawk Tuah," and the crowd went crazy.
Sold about $200,000 worth of hats.
Hats.
Bryan is a joker for that.
What's up?
Zach Bryan, you say he came out?
No,
No,
yeah,
Zach
he
Bryan
brought her out.
He does this thing where he always
He's a
brings
joker
out
for
like,
bringing out the Hawk Tuah Girl.
Why?
I'm just gonna say it.
Why?
Salute to Zach Bryan.
Salute
but
to the Hawk Tuah
Thank you,
Girl.
Juju.
you jumped the shark.
Zach Bryan brings out a bunch of like celebs to take part in that.
Celebs, keyword.
Something
She is like one of the
very,
most famous people.
2012 about this whole
Yeah,
thing.
it's so weird.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's that funny.
What, the Hawk Tuah thing?
Yeah, it's risen to a prominence that I didn't expect. I saw a dude at the parade yesterday wearing one of those like presidential campaign
Hawk
shirts that said
Tuah
Hawk
24.
Tuah.
Yeah.
What is
Amin
going
got one of
on?
those shirts. I seen
Why?
Amin with that was a
Jeremy,
meme.
if you're frustrated by it, just wait
in the mail.
5 days.
Exactly.
We're gonna find someone. You know, it's like, you guys ever see this on the internet? They'll do like January. This was the big meme, and then February, and then March, whatever. Like June,
And
it was
it'll be
Hawk
like,
Tuah.
wow, like, that meme feels like it was
It felt like
so many years ago.
and it felt like it lasted forever at that time. And
I
you
confused
realize,
Charles Ramsey and Rent is Too Damn High earlier last week because
It's
some
kind of easy though.
Gordon Ramsay, he was at the UFC event.
Aaron Gordon.
we're doing this again.
Yeah.
Commissioner Gordon.
A nice little petty job by the NHL schedule makers. We really appreciate that. It is leaked out that the Panthers' home opener, i.e. banner-raising day, will happen against the Boston Bruins.
Yeah, October 8th.
Now, the Boston Bruins are among those teams actively chasing the Florida Panthers, who are doing their best to keep core players. But painful thing that happens with every Stanley Cup champion, some guys perform so well, you can no longer make it work for them. We told you about Brandon Montour being gone. It's great news about Sam Reinhart. But a couple of guys that really helped this Florida Panthers team are now going to a direct rival in the Toronto Maple Leafs. Roy, what can you tell us?
We got Oliver Ekman-Lawson going to Toronto, and Anthony Stolarz is also going to Toronto. Oliver Ekman-Lawson is going to make $3.5 million per year for the next 4, and Stolarz is going to go there for 2 years. He's going to make the mid-2 millions.
So Oliver Ekman-Larsson, which sounds like a Swedish law firm.
Yes.
He was on Power Play 1. He had replaced Brandon Montour on Power Play 1 by the end of things. He was a stabilizing force. Did he get the cup third in line?
Yes. Yeah, he was either third or fourth. Yes. That was
For sure fourth.
We will fight for you.
I think the sneaky signing
Sound
there.
like my guy from Our Flag Means Death.
Salute.
He was just a Borky away from making that Swedish chef.
Borky.
Borky is also like on the free agent market. Maybe they can get Borky and Borky. But Stolarz, I think, is the sneaky signing by Toronto there. Stolarz was very good. He's a big goalie. He was really big for Florida. Huge in getting Bob some rest. He didn't really. The good news is for Florida, they won a cup without ever having to turn to him, outside of like one game where Bob got chased. But I think there's a real shot. They got Wall over there in Toronto, but I think there's a real shot. Toronto just signed their starting goalie come playoff push next year.
The other thing about this is they are sticking with Spencer Knight. So the Panthers, like, he had his problems, he had his mental problems, and hopefully he's fixed it. Now I believe he's going to come back up to be the backup for the Panthers.
I was happy for him too, but it was awkward seeing him so involved in the in the Panthers celebration. Panther fans haven't forgotten about Spencer Knight. You can hear that every time they sing the Star Spangled Banner. He still remains a popular dude down here, but he wasn't available in the last playoff push because he was dealing with his off-ice stuff. Now back in the fold, he was front row at the parade, saw him at 11. He handed Paul Maurice the Stanley Cup, which was a really cool moment if you know the details surrounding what had happened with Spencer Knight. Spencer Knight needs to be the guy. And it felt like this franchise was maybe moving away from him, considering how good Stolarz was. But now it does seem as though Spencer Knight, who's not going to be cheap, he's got a number attached to him, is going to have to be what you hoped. Somebody that can be the plan once Bob goes, because that number's coming off your books in 2 years.
2 years left on Bob's contract. Yeah, he's going to have to be ready.
To be clear, it was all worth it. Even if like all these people are gone and are not replaced in the team.
Oh, yeah.
It's all worth it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You won a cup. But I think what got a lot of Panther fans excited was you can keep this core together. They're all young. You're going to be in that conversation, but you realize it's hard to keep a champ together. These are guys. Yeah. Brandon Montour, when it came to points, huge piece of that team. Fan favorites like Ryan Lomberg, gone. They have to bring Kevin Stenlund back at this point. They bring back Kulikov, who was a former Panther before. Nice little closing of the story. But Oliver Ekman-Larsson was on their first power play unit. He proved to be pretty pivotal. Him and Mikkola, you can make an argument that they were the two most consistent, outside of Forsling, two most consistent defensemen that this team had.
How does it feel, by the way? You guys joined
in the postseason.
A very specific fraternity of cities, right? Cities that have won all 4 major championships. So Chicago's in that list. New York is on that list. Boston's on that list. LA's on that list. Dallas technically is on that list. If we're going to call Arlington Dallas, basically.
I would call it.
Yes, that's Dallas. Yeah,
I would not.
Okay, it's a suburb.
And now Miami. Miami's won everything. You hit the cycle, and unlike a lot of those cities, you guys have actually seen 3 out of the 4.
Yeah.
What's that feel like?
Incredible. I mean, it had been a while down here for an actual tried and true parade for a championship. I always want to pay attention to the League's Cup that Inter Miami won last summer, but I understand that's new, and we're not going to get excited. There wasn't a parade for it, so therefore it's not in the class.
Still a trophy, though, Mike.
No.
That's the most adorable thing I've ever heard in my life. You say incredible.
It was.
It was so cute.
Really
it was incredible to dude. I had never thought this day would come. I never thought that there would be pots and pans in Westchester. I thought if you would have asked me 8 years ago, is it more likely that you see pots and pans celebrating the Florida Panthers winning a championship or the team moving to Hamilton? I would have said Hamilton.
Or Quebec.
Yeah, like that.
The place where the deal happens or whatever, right? What's it
Talking
called?
about the
In
stage
the room
play?
where it happens.
Hamilton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Hamilton was
Oh, I
a
get
long-standing
it. Yikes.
rumor. In fact, Panthers are going to be playing in Quebec in the preseason, and that's kind of funny.
So wait,
Yes.
did you go to parade yesterday?
I didn't. I explained before you came in. I was a literal fair weather fan.
Yeah.
I had woken up early, but apparently not early enough in Orlando to drive down to make it for the parade. And as I was about to get out of my car at the Galleria Mall, the skies opened up with like your essential Florida, your traditional South Florida tropical downpour. I realized I'm not going to be able to hop on this water taxi like this.
Now, Jeremy, you were there, but had you ever gone to any of the heat parades back in the day?
No, I actually hadn't.
So
So that's
there-
the first parade I've ever experienced.
So I was trying to find someone to give me a compare and contrast between yesterday's parade, which I know was affected by the weather, and like the heat parades, and maybe even a Marlins parade if you want to go even further.
I went
back.
to the 03 Marlins parade. I had gone to I was working in 06 as the show was broadcasting, so I
Did you
didn't
go
go
to the
06.
Leagues Cup parade?
I didn't, but that was actually I did see what their celebration was, which was at the stadium. So I was a part of the back-to-back heat parades. Like I was actually on a float
Wow.
with Boppy, and then Joy Taylor another year we were broadcasting from it.
Wow.
Last year,
Pick up that name. Look at me, Louis.
yesterday seemed really cool. In terms of the Miami Heat and Florida Marlins ones, they felt separated from the people. Don't touch me. We got LeBron on this team. Like stay over there.
Heisman pose over there.
And the Panthers got in with the people. They would mix it up. They would pour beers on the people. You'd get to drink out of the Stanley Cup. If you were at one of the lucky stops, Chucky would run into Elbow Room and get a bucket of beer. He would run into the ocean. Like they were really loving it and going with the people. So I think from that sense, this was unlike any of the other parades because it felt like the parade goers and the team were all in it together.
They were.
They had to be.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy to see, like, Evan Rodriguez, who became a fan favorite, obviously, for us in our show and coming on and doing an interview, but also just because of his success in the Stanley Cup. He was walking around with his two young kids, and everybody started chanting Rodriguez. And that was so funny in Broward County around hockey to hear Rodriguez. But as he was walking around with a GoPro on his head, he was stopping and, like, hugging people.
They had lost him briefly.
It was crazy. Yeah, he got lost. Spencer Knight, who you mentioned before, ran down one side and then ran up another side. And so the Panthers PR people were looking for him. I mean, the players were diving into the crowd, like embracing in a way that I don't know exists in other sports right now. Like to see the way that they were really just and I think it was elevated because of the rain. I think because they appreciated the fact that people were waiting out something that delayed the parade by 45 minutes to an hour. Like they were supposed to start the parade at 11. It didn't start until I think 11:50. And so to see that, I think they were just really excited to kind of get in it and enjoy the moment with the fans.
I think there's a bit of anonymity when it comes to a hockey parade because, like, when
A bit.
I guess Lomberg is the guy's name that poured
Ryan
the Truly
Lomberg.
on
Ryan
on
Lomberg,
Jeremy.
yeah.
I thought it was a fan that Jeremy was interviewing, and I was like, oh, that guy
Shaq
looks a
fan.
little small.
Yeah.
Small?
Yeah, he looks smaller than
He
Jeremy.
is short.
The fact that he's
He is
shorter
short.
than me.
Like-
I mean, he's shorter than me.
Look at this man's body.
Yeah.
I mean, sure,
Crazy.
but like he looks like a guy that would be living somewhere in Broward.
He also,
Look at his
Ultimate
hair.
Warrior without the face paint.
but also
Really?
he also looks like he might ask like how those TPS reports are coming on.
It's a weird
That
look.
hair?
That man looks like hockey.
Right.
That man has an aura about
Also,
him.
how many GD fan favorites are on this Panthers team? My God, every single player.
Really?
Like, oh, he's a fan
They
favorite.
won the Stanley Cup.
they gotta
Jessica.
keep him. He's
They're
a
all
fan
fan.
favorite.
They're all
Come
fan.
They're
on.
all. Kevin Stenlund is my personal fan favorite, but Ryan Lomberg is truly a fan favorite. And
Number
it's
look
a
like he
shame
can
to see
put you
him
in
go.
an ankle lock easily.
Yeah,
Like a
he's
Ryan
one of the
Taylor.
more recognizable dudes, and how many games did he play in this postseason, Roy? Like 7?
Oh man, he got
8?
sick. He got sick during the Tampa Bay series and lost his job to Carlo Pozzo for a little bit, but then came back during the conference final.
We neglected to ask the most important question about the Panthers championship. Has that fraud Chris Whittingham been on the show to atone for his sins?
No, I mean, he atoned. I FaceTimed with him and my wife we FaceTimed him after the game. It was like 2:30 a.m. and he answered, and he looked like he had been going through it. I credit to him for actually answering it, but we told him wholeheartedly, like, we wish you were a part of this. He made his choice. It's the most stubborn, manly thing I've ever seen Whitty do.
Stupid.
I'm actually kind of proud of him. Jess, for the 4th of July, I'm actually headed to the land of Lincoln, Illinois.
Nebraska.
Yeah. I read that they're not going to be doing 4th of July fireworks on the lake.
I read that too, but normally they do a big thing at Navy Pier, so I don't know why that is the case.
So I don't know how this would stand because it's America, Jack. You need to have fireworks on the lake in Chicago on the 4th of July. The reasoning in the article, I read it a couple weeks ago and I assumed cooler heads would prevail. The reasoning that they did is during the summer, we do our fireworks on Wednesdays and Saturday. It would be madness to all of a sudden have a Thursday fireworks session.
That's strange. Also, like, big fireworks are illegal in Illinois, so you actually have to drive to Indiana. There's a huge warehouse off of I-80. I think it's I-80. When you're going east towards Indiana, that has like 20,000 square feet of fireworks.
And it's like last stop for fireworks.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man. That's funny. Arizona, it's like Wild Wild West. You get
breaking news.
What do we got?
The Cavender twins have been signed by Under Armour to a 3-year endorsement deal. Back to you, Mike.
Well, it's tricky for an Adidas school, but good on the rock.
How's that going to work?
Appreciate that. It ain't going to work on the court. I'll tell you that.
I'm very, very jealous you're going to Chicago, though.
The land of Lincoln.
I was just there. The weather was so much better than Miami.
Yeah, I'm not sure how good the street race is going to be, but it's basically music festival meets NASCAR race.
And last year, I think it completely got flooded out the day after. So
they've had bad luck. The last month of watching NASCAR has been rough because the rain has really impacted these races. But back to the Lincoln thread. There was this one thing that I saw on social media a couple weeks ago. Apparently there was a wax statue of Abraham Lincoln, and I just assumed this is to prove a point. This is like an environmentalist. You put a wax statue out there, you're hoping that it melts really quickly and you could say something about global warming.
Actually, I don't think that was the intent, but that is kind of what ended up happening. So it was like a 3,000-pound wax statue of Abe Lincoln that was outside of an elementary school in D.C., and it melted really fast because they had a heat wave there, and it ended up looking like Abe Lincoln's head was thrown backwards in a moment of pleasure and delight, and I can't think of another way to describe it.
I got a way to describe it. Hawk Tua.
But it also looks like he almost got decapitated by an assassin that decided to seize on this moment.
Well, that is kind of sort of what happened to him.
Too soon.
Like a little close.
Get him out of here.
Too soon.
Get me out of here.
Yeah.
I mean, who
exactly what
who establishes who? It's flawed logic. Let's have a wax statue.
Outside.
Outside.
Well, so the artist apparently was like, we knew it was going to melt. We thought it would kind of like melt like a candle, but instead it melted in this very suggestive way.
It melted. It had a 1.2 chance of melting this way, and it did it.
I kind of wish it was made out of butter.
It'd be delicious.
I can't believe it's not butter.
Okay, you gotta leave.
No, actually,
That's a
that
good one.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
He had
Come on.
He had a perfect goal.
Oh man,
No, it's like you can't come up with that in a writer's room if you tried.
Thank
or
you.
maybe you would try hard for like 30 minutes and then come up with
Do
that.
you guys remember the Caitlin Clark butter sculpture?
No.
Man,
Yeah.
that was great. I still think that Lucy should have to do that for some sort of video bit. She should have to carve a butter sculpture of Caitlin Clark.
I think she'd be down for that.
I think so too.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be a Caitlin Clark.
I remember Fabio on the Can't Believe It's Not Butter commercial.
Yeah.
His
Yep.
hair was amazing.
You remember when he killed that bird with his face?
Yeah, on a roller coaster.
I do remember that.
The butter sculpture that I'm looking at of Caitlin Clark, it looks like the kind of thing that your cousin would see online.
On her twine tour.
That's a throwback of a reference.
The twine tour. Oh my god.
Do you know about that, Mike?
No.
You don't
Oh,
remember?
man, you missed out.
That statue looked like Rose.
Oh, that sure does. She's probably happy about that too.
As Sam Reinhart found out, it's wedding season. I somehow had a July wedding in South Florida. Don't do that. I would strongly vote against that. I was young and tried to devise my my wedding around when it was a quieter moment in the sports calendar.
I would have thought it was because it's cheaper, probably, right?
No. Like, certainly not.
I think July is like prime wedding time in most of
In
the country.
Miami?
Probably not Miami.
That's what I'm saying.
I think the season in Miami is like winter and spring.
It was a huge regret, and we did it at the church that her family built down here. It was at a beautiful Greek Orthodox church. They forgot to run the AC the night before,
Opa.
and so it was really bad, really hot in there, really sweaty.
Oh, Stugotz made a save on Cynthia's dress
Save,
as well.
Save the wedding. Stugotz saved the wedding there. But Sam Reinhart found out wedding season can pop its head up during these summer months. What is this video of Kyle Shanahan?
Well, it's just a still image of him at Christian McCaffrey's wedding, and he appears to have new facial hair. He has a mustache.
Oh boy, no,
That's a good look.
that's not a good look.
That is
like
a
it.
really good look.
I like it, bruh. He looks presidential.
He does.
I mean, I think he kind of looks like Pat Riley in this photo. Am I crazy for that?
No.
Oh,
Pat Ryan and Aaron Rodgers together. Mixed
Can we
together.
zoom in anywhere? Any way that we can do that? Because he's got the salt and pepper stash.
Yeah, you know what he looks like? He looks like an accountant who's here to tell you that, like, tell the mob boss that I can't hide these expenses.
I think he looks like Andy Garcia.
He looks
there.
like Jeremy Strong.
He does
Yeah,
look
he
like
does,
Jeremy
bro.
Strong.
A little
And
bit
the-
of Jeremy Strong.
and the round glasses too.
Yeah.
Like, he has a great idea for his dad to, like, turn down.
He looks like
Which
Jeff Rimmer.
fits for him, too.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Honesty.
He looks more distinguished with a mustache. This is a really
I like this look.
This is a strong argument for the mustache. It changes his face in a good way.
Wait, are you guys impressed by the mustache or that his hair is slicked back real good?
Well, that
That's
Nobody's
what's
impressed by
giving
that,
me
bro.
Riley.
Yeah,
That's what's
nobody's-
giving me Riley.
yeah, he's not wearing a flat brim
Also,
snapback.
Real piece
how
of
do we
shit.
feel about Kittle's high pony? We
I'm
now
not
need to
hating it.
scroll over.
I do like a good top bun.
Right.
Let's see that.
Me three. I'd love a good top bun.
Yeah, can we scroll over to George Kittle, see if he's rocking top bun or that is that's
my
that's
God.
just that's not a
wedding.
top bun. That's just a high pony in the back that's giving that appearance.
Yeah, that's handsome for a wedding. Like, if you're Kittle, that's, I mean, what can't get better than that?
And then Jeremy Taché behind him.
That's the use. Big use.
Is that
His wife is
who is
still-
that?
I'll
Is that,
take it.
is that
Kyle
Bosa?
Kyle Juszczyk. His
Oh,
wife
Juszczyk.
is tearing the
thank God it's
game
not
up with
Bosa.
the
Yeah.
fashion line she got going on.
Yeah, I think she's got some NHL exclusives, NFL exclusives that people are.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, she's going to be licensed now. That's
Do we
going to be
think
cool.
he keeps it for the season? The stash?
I hope so. That sash.
He should
I
just
trust
fade
that
the
stash.
size. He just fade the size of his hair during the season, and he will be like through the roof.
Dangerous
now we're
game for a
looking a
white guy
little-
with slick back hair to
Yeah.
shave the sides.
And a
little
mustache.
1930s.
Yeah.
And a mustache. It's
Yeah.
just.
Andrew Schultz is killing that look.
He keeps leaning into that more and more.
Like harsh fade too.
Yeah.
Not even like the
There's no
blended fade.
fade.
It's
There's
like
no
Bold.
straight.
And he's
Yeah.
leaning right.